Ladies and gentlemen, wonderful, fantastic, great, amazing news coming out of the White House a few days ago. President Trump signs an executive order pertaining to nuclear energy. Finally, we need nuclear energy, more and more and more nuclear energy. Renewable energy ain't gonna cut it, especially with the development of AI, with all of these AI data centers that are going up, that will be producing AI video, AI images, music, chat GPT, even Grok over on X, like all of these different AI models, AI systems. It is requiring a shitload of electricity. And I guess currently they're just powering it with, I guess, the majority coal power, which is, I think, roughly about 70% of our energy in the United States gets its energy from coal. And renewable is not going to cut it. It is just not going to. Wind and solar is just not going to happen. I mean, they're not going to be able to produce enough renewables to get anywhere close, in my opinion, to running this whole AI infrastructure that they continue to build on. And how's that going to look 10 years from now, 15 years from now? I mean, I'm sure that AI is only going to get more and more prominent. And we're going to need something like nuclear power to generate all of this electricity. And that doesn't even include the fact that, especially the Democrats, the progressives, the folks over on the left, they're pushing for electric vehicles and more electric vehicles and EVs. I mean, California, I heard a rumor that they might be walking this back, but apparently there's a law that they passed in California where they are going to eliminate the sale of all gas-powered vehicles by 2035. And I believe they've already done that with recreational vehicles, with RVs. I don't think that you're allowed to buy any brand new gas-powered RV in the state of California. So how are they going to power an entire state with tens of millions of people and arguably, I mean, well over probably 10 million plus electric vehicles that are going to be plugged into the grid? I mean, I don't think it's going to happen with solar or any of this renewable crap that we've wasted literally trillions of dollars on at this point. So anyway, President Trump signed an executive order. This did come out about 6 days ago, but there is plenty of information available on the White House's website. And I've also got a video clip where President Trump signs the executive order and he goes into detail about what it's going to do and what it means for AI. It is definitely, it should be music to all of America's ears just because of our demand of electricity going up more and more. And as demand goes up, the costs go up unless we implement something like nuclear energy. I think that's going to help offset a lot of the costs. Of course, you can't build an electric or a nuclear power plant overnight. I'm sure it takes years from the time they break ground to the time it goes online. But not only are they talking about building nuclear power plants, they're talking about building smaller scale nuclear power that could power military bases, for example, or just smaller scale operations. So maybe these AI data centers, they might be able to build a small self-sustaining nuclear generator that would power these supercomputers, but not a full-scale nuclear giant power plant that's going to produce electricity for an entire city. So I believe they were talking more, not just large-scale nuclear power, but also smaller-scale nuclear power. So let's get into this. This is very interesting.
President Trump as he is signing a series of executive orders. Let's listen in.
Environmental, yes, 100%. So I'm going to ask Doug Burgum to talk about it a little bit to start. And maybe Will, you'll follow him up.
Yes, sir.
And we're going to have Pete Hegseth speak from a military standpoint, but this is very all-inclusive. We're signing tremendous executive orders today that really will make us be real powerful.
And I'm glad he's doing this now.
Industry, which is a big industry.
Still in his first year of his second term.
Well, thank you, President Trump. This is a huge day for the nuclear industry. Mark this day on your calendar. This is going to turn the clock back on over 50 years of over-regulation of an industry.
Thank God.
America has American greatness has always come from innovation, and we were very innovative. We led post-World War II in all things nuclear, but then we've been stagnated. We've choked it with over-regulation. Today, Will is going to walk us through a series of 4 executive orders. Each of these help attack separate issues that have held back this industry. And with us today, we've got a number of CEOs from the industry representing some of our largest nuclear providers, but also a big change. This is a time when capital and competition has finally come to this industry. We've got venture capital, we've got startups coming into all aspects with small modular nuclear, and we've also got an EO that's talking about the importance of us
modular,
having
that's
a
what
secure
it's called.
supply
I
chain,
think that's the small scale
that fuel load here in the United States as opposed from foreign sources. This has impacts on national security, on our defense, and again, President Trump here today has committed to...
Yeah, it will have a good impact on our national security because a lot of this renewable energy crap that's being constructed is coming out of China. Our solar panels, and I'm sure the computer systems and the battery packs and all that crap that goes into powering this alternate energy, a lot of it's being built in China, and that's not good for national security.
Energy dominance, and part of that energy dominance is that we've got
they
enough
could implement
electricity
malware,
to win the AI arms race
spyware.
with China. What we do in the next 5 years related to electricity is going to determine the next 50, because this is the first time in history where electricity can be translated into intelligence, and we need that intelligence for every aspect of our economy, but also for defense. Pete Hegseth and the Department of Defense has been a key part of this, and this is going to help us make sure that we're providing the defense we need, where we need that AI, need the electricity, but also to secure
how rich
our
this
bases
dude's
here
getting
at
off
home
of
and
this.
around the world. Secretary?
I'm sure there's nuclear power bigwigs in here.
Energy security is national security. If we don't have reliable
Either way, we need this.
energy for our basing, for our troops, whether forward deployed or domestically, we're vulnerable. So by having small modular nuclear capabilities, which are
small modular nuclear capabilities. So think nuclear power submarines and aircraft carriers. I mean, our subs and our carriers are powered through nuclear, and I'm assuming it's the same concept, modular nuclear power. I mean, they have this nuclear power cell that is built into a nuclear sub or a nuclear powered aircraft carrier. And what's amazing about that is that a submarine, an American nuclear submarine, can remain submerged under the water for up to 35 years and not have to surface once, and it would still be at full power. It can run every system in there, everything from the computers to tracking to the climate control to the freaking lights and everything in between. 35 years. Now, obviously, they can't be underwater for 35 years because they'll run out of food and whatnot, but still, it's still that concept of being able to be out there in the field for an unlimited amount of time. And the same goes with the aircraft carriers as well. It is definitely a strategic advantage. I'm sure that is one of the main reasons why our military is years and years ahead of our competition, if not decades. I mean, that is definitely a key player in our military.
We can use on our bases here and around the world. We're creating an environment where
nuclear power for military bases.
The military can be relied upon. Also, we're including artificial intelligence into everything we do. If we don't, we're not fast enough. We're not keeping up with adversaries. You need the energy to fuel it. Nuclear is a huge part of that, modular or otherwise. So we're going to have the lights on and AI operating when others do not, faster than everybody else because of nuclear capability. So this is a big game changer for us as well.
We're also talking about the big plants, the very, very big, the biggest.
I don't know, man. I don't know if I want Skynet running the fucking military.
A little bit. I think a focus today is the smaller module, but included in this.
I mean, what if it comes back and it keeps saying nuke Russia, nuke China?
They won't be needed too much, but they'll literally be able to do it in an entire state. And you've read a lot about cost overruns in a couple of states that were pretty significant, but we're not going to have cost overruns. And the technology's come a long way.
I hope this gets implemented in every single state.
And everything else. Would a couple of you guys like to talk about your companies?
Build.
You want to say anything?
Joe, why don't you kick it off?
Sure. My name's Joe Dominguez. I run Constellation Energy. We have about 25% of the nation's fleet. We're the largest publicly traded nuclear company in the world. We're in the middle of a merger with Calpine, And once completed, we will be the largest electric producing company in the world. About
So
enough
this
power
dude's
to
getting
produce,
mega rich from this.
to cover all of
Very
Mexico,
impressive.
actually.
I didn't know that. When we talked, you were so modest. I can't believe it.
That's normally not said about me, Mr. President.
I'm very impressed. Go ahead. So you think it's got a great future?
Yeah, well, absolutely we do. And the big change here is not only the technology has come around, but we have some of the largest companies in the world, the hyperscalers, who need this energy for AI, who are now working with us to fund the development and construction of the next generation nuclear. Nuclear is a 24/7 resource. These data centers
round the
run
clock
24/7.
for years.
Some of them will cost $200–300 billion, and they want to run them all of the time. So we can't use intermittent resources. We need something that's always on, 24/7, and nothing does that better than nuclear. The problem in the industry has historically been regulatory delay. Mr. President, you know this because you're the best at building big things. Delay in regulations and...
I mean, look, believe it or not, there's only 54 operational nuclear power plants across the entire country, just 54. That's it. And I'm sure there's other estimates, but one estimate that I read is that if the entire country were to transition over to electric vehicles alone, what is it? I think it was like 210 or 213 million vehicles are on the road in America today. And if they were all converted to electric vehicles, we would need the nuclear power equivalent of 1,200 nuclear power plants to power the entire electrical vehicle infrastructure across the country. That is how energy demanding that EVs truly are. And it's a very small number of electric vehicles that are on the road compared to gas. I know it's less than 10%. I think it's like 5 or 6% of the vehicles on the road today are electric. So it's a small number. But when you hear these politicians talking about getting rid of all gas vehicles and replacing them with electric, they don't talk about where all this power is coming from. They conveniently leave that out. And when they're pressed on it, they'll throw out renewable energy. We're building wind farms and solar farms, but that is not going to get anywhere near the energy consumption requirements that it's going to take to power electric vehicles across the country. Now, I'm not an advocate for EVs. I don't like EVs. I prefer gas. I prefer my car to shift manually. I prefer being in control with that. But, I mean, 1,200 nuclear power plants, I mean, you're not going to get that energy equivalent from renewables. I mean, even if it's clean coal or petroleum, I don't know, man. I just think that's going to significantly drive up the cost of electricity if everybody's plugged into the grid with their vehicles and we're getting it from those quote unquote fossil fuel sources. So just another thing just to point out there,
will absolutely
or just to point out
you,
as to why this
if you
is
can't get the plant
very
on,
good.
You can't get revenue, and the interest costs are horrible. We're wasting too much time on permitting, and we're answering silly questions, not the important ones.
Red tape.
For example, let me give you an example.
All
in
right.
3 places in this country, we're trying to license new reactors at sites that already have reactors. Yet I have to spend $35 billion at each site just for the NRC to do an analysis that says this is a good place for nuclear.
He said $35 billion on an analysis. I believe he misspoke. I believe he meant 35 million with an M.
Well, guess what? We've been running nuclear in that community for 4 decades. Why are we even asking that question? I'd rather spend that $35 million, 3 times $105 million, perfecting a design, start building the foundation.
It's still a ridiculous number just to
we need to do this for America.
Do an analysis based on a plant that's already there.
About the regulatory in here?
Oh, yes, sir.
Yes, you are.
You are,
Because
sir.
that's going to be a big factor.
Yes, sir. That issue I just described will be addressed in this EO and many other issues that we don't have time with the president to
But
cover
you say
today.
it's very, we've contemplated just about everything, right?
Well, this, Mr. President,
would hope
this
so.
Energy Dominance Council that you have created is something I haven't seen in 30 years. It
Nice.
brings together all the pieces of government in one place to expedite the process. Under Secretary Burgum's leadership, this has been an amazing, amazing thing. It used to be the case that I have to run to about 5 different places in Washington to get one answer.
That's great.
And now it's all together in one place. So All I know about Secretary Burgum and Secretary Wright is if we haven't gotten it right, we'll get it right shortly, and there'll be another order for you to sign. But thank you so much for your leadership, sir.
Addressing you were going to say something? Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say commercial nuclear, a bit of an unsung hero. And I just want to thank you, Mr. President, Secretary Burgum, Secretary Wright, for bringing this attention to commercial nuclear. We have the largest and most safe fleet right here in the United States. And upon that, we have fantastic innovation that's being brought forward, and it's going to come in all shapes and sizes, and it's going to actually be
large
coming
scale,
through
small
some
scale.
of these companies that you see represented here. We're going to have great jobs, we're going to have wonderful energy, and we're going to be ready. So thank you, Mr.
Like,
President.
I know this is a little bit too forward thinking, but imagine being able to buy a nuclear power cell just for your individual house. Kind of like how people do with solar energy. They've already rolled that out. It's already been out for years. My opinion is it's a big waste of money. I mean, that's for a whole nother discussion. I mean, like, you know, running solar on your house, you spend like 40 grand on it, including the batteries, and you got to run it for like 15, 20 years by the time you break even. And at that point, you're going to have to replace your batteries because they're aging out at that point, because batteries don't last forever. But anyway, like, just being able to build that kind of technology. Now, it would probably be very expensive because, you know, all brand new technology is highly expensive. But imagine that, like 10, 20, 30 years from now, if they are actually selling nuclear power cells in like you would buy like a water heater or a dishwasher or some shit, that you could just buy it, and I'm sure it would still be expensive even when it's like mass produced. But I mean, if it's safe enough, I mean, why not? And now, of course, that would come with a whole new regulatory body and all of its red tape on its own, because just the thought of having a nuclear power cell in each house, I mean, I think that's off-putting to a lot of people, because the propaganda campaigns that they've been pushing against nuclear, they've been doing that since I was a kid. Like, for example, a lot of people think that nuclear waste is constantly being produced from nuclear power plants, and they have to constantly fill up these 55-gallon oil drums filled with this lime green sludge, of which doesn't exist. That doesn't exist. Nuclear power plants, it just simply doesn't work that way. So they've been trying to push this propaganda against nuclear power forever. And honestly, I can't fully understand why, because it's such an effective energy source. Now, maybe the oil companies, I could see why they're not pleased with nuclear power. So I'm sure there's probably these fossil fuel companies that don't like nuclear. But still, just to think that on the small and the large scale, I mean, if this executive order really rolls out, or it gets rid of the amount of red tape that they're suggesting that it is, I mean, we could start seeing something like that in our future. And I think that'd be great on the individual level, because we could cut off the power companies as an individual household and just buy a nuclear power cell that could run for 20, 30 years, and it's a done deal as far as your individual power consumption is concerned. Now, I'm sure that the lobbying campaigns would be absolutely, you know, insane when it comes to pushing back against that, but the technology's got to already be there. I mean, they're already putting these power sources in things like nuclear subs. I know a nuclear sub is very different from an individual household. I get that. But just the thought that it could be in our future,
President, for leaning
I mean, it's just nice to imagine that.
About your company and
Cutting off fucking power company, man.
Well, first of all, a little MIT
Nobody likes
your
paying their
connection
power
goes
bill.
back, I know, familial for you. So,
Especially in the freaking
we're
summer.
working on small reactors. I'm Jacob DeWitt, CEO, co-founder at Oklo.
Well,
Working
summer in
on
the
small
south.
next-generation
I guess it'd be
reactors. That's
winter up in the
technology
north.
America invented, developed, and pioneered, and bringing it to the market after it sat on the shelves of history for about 40 years. And it's because of the actions that you're doing today that are going to help unleash that. Changing the permitting dynamics is going to help things move faster. We're seeing private investment flow.
You know what? I just thought of another thing. Imagine if that were to happen on the individual level and they put nuclear power cells in each house, we wouldn't see power lines around anymore. Now, I know there's some areas in the country where they do underground power lines, but everywhere that I've lived, there's power lines all over the place. I mean, I've got like this large string of power lines because I live on a street that's kind of like the street I live on it's a thoroughfare that connects other neighborhoods together. Like I live on like the busy part of the area in our overall neighborhood. So we've got these big power lines that are going right down our street. And if everybody were to switch over to nuclear, which, yeah, ain't going to happen overnight, probably ain't going to happen for a couple decades, but just the thought that in our future, potentially in my lifetime, that we could actually see a world where power lines will eventually cease to exist. So when you get things like hurricanes or severe thunderstorms or blizzards and shit like that, just to think that we could weather out all of those situations and still maintain our power, that would just be freaking music to my ears, man.
Space like we've never seen before.
I mean, I was in Hurricane Helene just this past, what was that, September or October, and then we had Hurricane Milton, which was in October, just 2 weeks after Helene. Hurricane Helene, it took down, we had a new tree in our backyard. It's been growing for about 3 years. It was already about two and a half stories high. Hurricane Helene knocked that down, just split it down the middle. So that happened, and I don't think we lost power from Helene, but we lost power for 3, maybe 4 days from Hurricane Milton. I mean, that one was a doozy, but Hurricane Helene, it brought the worst floods, storm surge that the Tampa Bay area has had in like 80 years. And then we had Hurricane Milton, which brought the strongest winds that I think we've had in over 100 years. I mean, here at my house, we were measuring 100-mile-an-hour winds at our house, and just it knocked out power. I think it was like at least 80, maybe 90% of Pinellas County lost power, at least for a period of time after Milton went through. Of course, Hurricane Helene didn't help because we still had debris everywhere from that storm, and then Milton came around 2 weeks later. But just imagining not having to deal with the electrical company and the billions of dollars that the state had to spend bringing all of these electrical linesmen on contract to get everything fixed and everything back up and running. Now, I'm sure that if a nuclear cell in your house were damaged, I mean, they would have to create the technology to where it wouldn't create like a mini meltdown or something like that, which I'm sure that if something were to go haywire with a nuclear cell in like an aircraft carrier or something, it's probably not going to trigger a freaking meltdown. I mean, I'm sure it's not that kind of nuclear technology. So I'm sure they've already got the technology capable of being able to do that. And I mean, I just hope it happens, man. That'd be so cool.
One of the most successful actually go public outcomes for a transaction like that for a small nuclear company, because the market needs this and wants this. And under your leadership, creating the Dominance Council, I mean, it's hard to overstate the value of that. And nuclear is a manifestation of energy dominance. In fact, a golf ball of uranium metal, which this is not, but it's a golf ball, has enough energy content in it to power your entire life's energy needs. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. And to get back to building, nuclear uses the fewest materials, right? The least amount of concrete, of steel, of fuel for amount of energy it produces. So it should be the cheapest, the most scalable, the most sustainable, just like you
nuclear
mentioned.
Nuclear power turns water into steam. Steam turns the turbines.
And these things help
nuclear energy,
this innovation,
at least on the power plant scale.
So it's never been more exciting.
Very exciting indeed. Go ahead, please.
And I'm Scott Nolan, CEO of General Matter. We're an American enrichment company trying to bring back the U.S.'s lead in producing nuclear fuel. So just like car engines need fuel, nuclear reactors need fuel. Right
a lot of this comes on the heels of AI, these AI data centers that they're in the process of building right now.
These executive orders are going to pave the way for the U.S. to regain its
That's why Trump is
really appreciate it.
signing this when he is.
AI plants, because we have a lot of them going up now.
Right.
Or soon going up, and they need tremendous electricity. Are you going to be involved in many of these plants?
Yes.
Yeah, I think NVIDIA is involved with that, building the chips for them.
Some are using oil and gas, some are using different things, but
Many of them will be, I think.
it just makes a lot of sense.
Nuclear is a perfect solution, and that's where most of them are interested.
It's the best solution.
Thank you.
It's going to be great.
It's going to be, yes.
I mean, I'm not crazy about AI, believe me,
The
I'm
first
not.
executive order we have for you relates to the
It's
issue
fun to play
that
with,
Secretary
at
Hexas
least
was
like
speaking to, which
AI
is the
images,
need,
music videos, stuff like that.
for incredible amounts of power at defense installations and also in AI-focused installations. What this executive order will do is speed up the approval and adoption process for specialized nuclear reactors at these sorts of sites. It also involves the Department of Energy making available the necessary fuel stock. It also creates a special envoy position and a strategy around nuclear technology export. The idea being that we can grow American industry on the back of foreign purchasers who are interested in this sort of technology as well.
I'm just thinking, as you're saying that, I just said, what about auto pens? Could I use an auto pen? What did Biden do? Did he have an auto pen at the desk?
Nuclear power.
Screw the stupid auto pens.
Yeah, he used nuclear power. You know, he can do events like this, I guess. That's all right. Otherwise, you know, you walk into the other side of the room, have an auto pen signing, right?
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
It's phase one, very big phase, very important phase.
Yep, signed himself on camera. Nice.
Sir, this next executive order is intended to reform the Nuclear Regulatory Commission. You heard a few of the people here speak about the complex regulatory processes
like,
that have really held
that's
the
all you
nuclear
gotta
industry
say.
back. Before 1978, there were 133 reactors built in the United States. Since 1978, only 2 new commercial reactors have come
Fucking
online.
2, man.
That's because of
2.
overregulation, and the goal of this executive order is bringing that regulatory process into line with the actual needs of the industry and public safety, with an end goal of quadrupling the amount of nuclear power production in the next 2.5 decades.
Quadrupling? Fuck that, man. 10-fold, 20-fold, 50-fold. Let's get these plants built in all 50 states, man.
There you go.
This next executive order relates to nuclear
Does that mean they're only
reactor
gonna build
testing,
8
sir?
nuclear power plants over the next 40 years?
The degree of overregulation and governmental
hope not.
inaction in this space in particular
A lot more than
has had
that.
the effect of throttling development of new, highly modernized nuclear reactors that could really revolutionize the field of nuclear power generation. So this executive order, it orders a revised regulatory process to speed this whole process while preserving, obviously, core safety concerns. It also creates a new pilot program with an expectation that we will have 3 new experimental reactors online by July 4th next year.
It's amazing.
Nice. Let's go.
Okay, come on.
And lastly, sir, we have an executive order on reinvigorating the nuclear industrial base. There are a number of core issues here, including the issue with fuel feedstock that one of the speakers mentioned before. This executive order, among other actions, includes an invocation of the Defense Production Act in order to spur a closer collaboration with private industry to ensure that we have the fuel supplies we need for a modernized nuclear energy sector. In addition to that, it includes crucial provisions relating to the development of a nuclear energy sector workforce and a number of other key building blocks to the overall nuclear industry that we're trying to spur here.
Great.
All right. But can we keep these nuclear power plants from being connected to the damn internet?
We have one more for you here, sir. This doesn't directly
I don't know why they
relate to
connect our
nuclear
power
energy,
plants through
but
the internet like
it's
they
on a
do.
similar subject.
People like
This
hacking our
executive
power
order is
stations and
entitled
shit.
Restoring
At least there's a
gold
threat of that
standard
happening.
science. One of the issues that we've had in recent decades is that government policy has been made on the back of junk science, scientific studies and findings that have included conflicts of interest or scientific misconduct. The purpose of this executive order is to recenter policymaking around gold standard science, scientific efforts that have followed
proven, factual
appropriate
science.
scientific methods that
Not
don't
this
include those
pseudoscience
sorts
go
of
green
conflicts of
bullshit.
interest, and to ensure that when departments and agencies are relying on scientific studies to promulgate rules, to promulgate regulations, that the science that they're relying on is highly reliable and
Verified.
available to the public.
He did a very good job, didn't he? He did. How many people here could have done that? I
Amen.
don't know. I think a lot.
It looked like they had another one on the table. I don't know why Fox Now, or Live Now from Fox is cutting it here, but
Is that it?
That's all we have for you.
hell yeah, man. Absolutely fantastic news. That is absolutely awesome. Very, very happy to see it. That is freaking fantastic. So they basically, you got the gist of it based on that video. I do have a couple of statements or releases from the whitehouse.gov, and this one is President Trump signs executive orders to usher in a nuclear renaissance and restore gold standard science. This came out on May the 23rd, so just shy of a week ago, which is the same as when the executive order was signed, or the series of executive orders were signed. Today, as he signed several key executive orders, President Trump is taking decisive action to strengthen scientific discovery in America, rebuild public trust in science, and accelerate advanced nuclear technologies. Under President Trump's leadership, America will usher in a nuclear energy renaissance. After decades of stagnation and shuttered reactors, President Trump is providing a path forward for nuclear innovation. Today's executive orders allow for reactor design testing at Department of Energy labs, clear the way for construction on federal lands to protect national and economic security, and remove regulatory barriers by requiring the Nuclear Regulatory Commission to issue timely licensing decisions. Over the last 30 years, we stopped building nuclear reactors in America. That ends now. Today's executive orders are the most significant nuclear regulatory reform actions taken in decades. We are restoring a strong American nuclear industrial base, rebuilding a secure and sovereign domestic nuclear fuel supply chain, and leading the world toward a future fueled by American nuclear energy. These actions are critical to American energy independence and continued dominance in AI and other emerging technologies, said White House Office of Science and Technology Director Michael Kratsios. Quote, for too long, America's nuclear energy industry has been stymied by red tape and outdated government policies. But thanks to President Trump, the American nuclear renaissance is finally here, Energy Secretary Chris Wright said. Quote, with the emergence of AI and President Trump's pro-American manufacturing policies at work, American civil nuclear energy is being unleashed at the perfect time. Nuclear has the potential to be America's greatest source of energy addition. It works whether the wind is blowing or the sun is shining. It's possible anywhere and at different scales. President Trump's executive orders today unshackle our civil nuclear energy industry and ensure it can meet this critical moment, end quote. So this next quote comes from Interior Secretary Doug Burgum. Quote, President Trump's executive orders expand America's energy dominance agenda. As energy demand continues to surge, expanding our existing nuclear fleet and investing in advanced nuclear technologies ensures that we have reliable energy to power our homes, fuel for President Trump's manufacturing revolution, and a stronger electric grid, end quote. The president also signed an executive order implementing gold standard science to rebuild public trust in the national science enterprise. The executive order defines gold standard science and requires federal research agencies to conform their existing programs and activities to these fundamentals. In addition to federal agencies, the Trump administration is issuing a call to excellence for all American researchers and academic institutions to go back to the basics by restoring gold standard science. Amen. Gold standard science is just that, science that meets the gold standard. It's reproducible, transparent, falsifiable, subject to unbiased peer review, clear about errors and uncertainties, skeptical of assumptions, collaborative, interdisciplinary, accepting of negative results, and free from conflicts of interest. And from Director Kratsios, he says, quote, President Trump is making gold standard science the cornerstone of the federal science enterprise and rebuilding public trust in science. With this executive order, we are recommitting ourselves to scientific best practices and empowering America's researchers to achieve groundbreaking discoveries. Gold standard science starts in the policies and programs of our great federal research institutions and continues with partnership across academia, industry, and philanthropy. End quote. So there you have it from the whitehouse.gov. And yeah, there's been quite a drop in public trust when it comes to the just entire science area. A lot of it has to do with the COVID bullshit. I mean, trust the science and trust this and trust that. And turns out that the COVID vaccine wasn't a vaccine at all. It didn't prevent anybody from getting COVID. All it did was just lessen the symptoms, which by definition doesn't make the COVID vaccine a vaccine. It actually makes it a therapeutic. It was never a vaccine. It was a therapeutic. But anyway, that is just one of many examples as to why people just don't trust science like they used to. And a lot of it has to do with the whole climate change narrative. And that's for a whole different discussion in and of itself. But that is very good news to hear. This one actually goes into greater detail about the executive order itself. So I don't think I'm going to read the whole thing, but I will try to get a little bit of the highlights out of it. So, by the authority vested in me as president by the Constitution and the laws of the United States of America, it is hereby ordered. Section 1, its purpose. The United States originally pioneered nuclear energy technology during a time of great peril. We now face a new set of challenges, including a global race to dominate in artificial intelligence, a growing need for energy independence, and access to uninterruptible power supplies for national security. It took nearly 40 years for the United States to add the same amount of nuclear capacity as another developed nation added in 10 years. Further, as American deployment of advanced reactor designs has waned, 87% of nuclear reactors installed worldwide since 2017 are based on designs from 2 foreign countries. At the same time, the nation's nuclear fuel cycle infrastructure has severely atrophied, leaving the U.S. heavily dependent on foreign sources of uranium, as well as uranium enrichment and conversion services. These trends cannot continue. Now, I know out west, I want to say it was maybe in Utah, I believe the federal government did approve a uranium mining operation, and it was somewhere in the Rocky Mountain region, but I want to say it might have been in Utah, but I don't know. Don't completely quote me on that, but anyway, so let's see here. So swift and decisive action is required to jumpstart America's nuclear energy industrial base and ensure our national and economic security by increasing fuel availability and production, securing civil nuclear supply chains, improving the efficiency with which advanced nuclear reactors are licensed, and preparing our workforce to establish America's energy dominance and accelerate our path toward, I had an alarm going off, and accelerate our path toward a more secure and independent energy future. That's kind of hilarious that my alarm went off when it did, because the theme, I have a Samsung Galaxy, but the theme is it's a nuclear theme. Not that I'm obsessed with nuclear power. I just like the layout of it. You know, it's got a good wallpaper and all that, whatever. So anyway, the section 2 here is policy. It is the policy of the U.S. to expedite and promote to the fullest possible extent the production and operation of nuclear energy to provide affordable, reliable, safe, and secure energy to the American people, to power advanced nuclear reactor technologies as defined in the law. You can read it. Let's see. And to build associated supply chains that secure our global industry, or our global industrial and digital dominance, achieve our energy independence, protect our national security, and maximize the efficiency and effectiveness of nuclear fuel through recycling, reprocessing, and reinvigorating the commercial sector. So you can actually, oh no, I thought you could click on this. All right, apparently you can't. Well, you could at least copy paste the US code. And of course, I'll leave a link to this in the description. So section 3 is strengthening the domestic nuclear fuel cycle. Within 240 days of the date of this order, the Secretary of Energy, in coordination with the Secretary of Defense, the Secretary of Transportation, and the Director of Office Management and Budget, shall prepare and submit to the President through the Chair of the National Energy Dominance Council and the Director of the Office of Science and Technology Policy a report that includes the following. Now, this is within 240 days of the signing of this executive order. So this is number 1, a recommended national policy to support the management of spent nuclear fuel and high-level waste and the development and deployment of advanced fuel cycle capabilities to establish a safe, secure, and sustainable long-term fuel cycle. So that shouldn't be too heavily intensive to come up with, because, I mean, I'm sure that our disposal of nuclear waste is probably already doing pretty good. I mean, I imagine the EPA has probably made sure of that. So anyway, number 2, a review of relevant statutory authorities to identify any legislative changes necessary or desirable to achieve the national policy recommended under subsection A and I of this section. So number 3 is an evaluation of the reprocessing and recycling of spent nuclear fuel from the operation of Department of Defense and Department of Energy reactors and other spent nuclear fuel managed by the Department of Energy, along with a discussion of steps the Department of Defense and the DOE are taking or must take to improve such reprocessing and recycling processes. The next one, number 4, an analysis of legal, budgetary, and policy considerations relevant to efficiently transferring spent nuclear fuel from reactors to a government-owned, privately operated reprocessing and recycling facility. And number 5, recommendations for the efficient use of the uranium, plutonium, and other products recovered through recycling and reprocessing. And the next one is recommendations for the efficient disposal of the waste generated by recycling or reprocessing through a permanent disposal pathway. And number 7, a recommended process for evaluating prior to disposal nuclear waste materials for isotopes of value to national security or medical, industrial, and scientific sectors. And let's see, number 8 is a re-evaluation of historic and current nuclear reprocessing, separation, and storage facilities slated for decommissioning and that are identified as having valuable materials, isotopes, equipment, licenses, operations, or experienced workers, and that may have potential fuel cycle or national security benefits if operations are continued or increased. And finally, number 9, a program to develop methods and technologies to transport domestically and overseas used and unused advanced nuclear fuels and advanced nuclear reactors containing such fuels in a safe, secure, and environmentally sound manner, including any legislation required to support this initiative. Let's see here. I guess I could have gone without reading all that, but, it already is what it is. So within 120 days, so 4 months, so by September of this executive order, or by September period, the Secretary of Energy, in consultation with the chair of the Nuclear Regulatory Commission and the director of OMB, shall develop a plan to expand domestic uranium conversion capacity and expand enrichment capabilities sufficient to meet projected civilian and defense reactor needs for low-enriched uranium, high-enriched uranium, and high-assay low-enriched uranium, subject to retention of such stockpiles as are necessary for tritium production, naval propulsion, and nuclear weapons. The plan shall be implemented based on the timeframe set forth in the plan. So let's see here. Within 90 days, shall update the DOE, excess uranium management policy. So let's see, pilot program reactors within 3 years from the date of such applications. So it looks like a lot of this has to do with just like the management and the disposal of the nuclear fuel itself. So let's say funding for restart, completion, uprate, or construction of nuclear plants. So they go into the detail of building the plants, expanding the nuclear energy workforce, which is obviously a good thing. So we're going to need the talent. We're going to need people with the merit, with the skills, and the ability to not only run these plants, but also to build them. So I at least hope that we're getting plenty of college graduates who are getting degrees in the nuclear field. Other provisions, let's see. It's just looking like, legal requirements. But anyway, you get the idea, general provisions. So I'll link this also. And that also comes from the whitehouse.gov. Now, over here on X, I asked Grok a couple of questions here. So I was wondering how much energy is required for powering AI today? And without getting into too much information, he actually does, the AI bot does a pretty good job at laying it out through like trends and context, the broader ecosystem. And anyway, getting to the meat and potatoes, the rough estimate, globally, AI-related energy consumption, which is involving training, inference, and supporting infrastructure, likely sits in the range of between 50 and 150, what is that? Is that terawatt hours? Yeah, I think it's terawatt hours per year as of 2025, or roughly 0.2 to 0.6% of global electricity, which is 26,000 terawatt hours total. This is a ballpark as data is incomplete and varies by source. So now 150 terawatt hours per year. So what would the average cost be to receive 150 terawatt hours or to consume that amount of electricity? So it breaks it down with the math, the formulas, the U.S. average, the global variation, the wholesale costs and everything. And then it calculates the cost. So let's see. So the low end estimate, which would be about 10 cents per kilowatt hours, would total out to about $15 billion. So, and that's annually. The amount of electricity that AI is consuming on an annual basis, and it's a very rough estimate, ballpark, but on the low end, it's looking like it may be costing about $15 billion per year worth of electricity. And on the higher end, it could be up to $30 billion per year in energy consumption. And I believe that's as it stands today with the amount of AI infrastructure that we currently have. The amount we currently have today It's costing anywhere between $15 to $30 billion worth of electricity to run the AI infrastructure that we have right now. And then, of course, it goes into critical considerations such as regional variability, AI-specific context, the data limitations, and the externalities. So basically, it's saying with the best estimate, which is just pretty much giving you like an in the middle between those two numbers already laid out. But Grok is saying it could be around roughly $22.5 billion per year worth of electricity that AI is currently consuming. So what about in the short term from today up to roughly about 2035? So what is AI energy consumption going to look like in America in about 10 years? Obviously, Grok and AI, it's not a crystal ball. I understand that, but I just figured I would ask just to see if it might be able to give me at least a rough estimate. And it did. The baseline energy use, let's see, consumed 185 terawatt hours of electricity. Isn't that more than it already described up here? I thought it was 150. Didn't it say it was 150? All right, now I'm kind of, yeah, it says 150. So now I'm kind of questioning these numbers here. Yeah, because it's saying up to 185 terawatt hours of electricity in 2023. Oh, wait, hold on. U.S. data centers can consume. Okay, so that's not AI specifically. Sounds like AI data centers. Yeah, okay, here we go. AI-specific workloads were estimated to account for between 8 and 14% of this total number, or roughly 12 to 26 terawatt hours. Okay, all right, I guess I should have read that. So AI's share, primarily from training and inference, running models for queries. Training a model like GPT, I'm assuming ChatGPT, uses 1,300 megawatt hours, while inference for millions of queries can dominate, with each query using 2.5 watt hours compared to 0.3 watt hours for a Google search. Yeah, because people don't think about that. Every time that you use the internet, you're getting on, whether it's social media or, like they pointed out, a simple Google search, it requires electricity for Google to search the internet and then return whatever the results are that you're looking for with a simple, search engine. So, and AI, it obviously requires a lot of energy, and I'll show you an example here shortly. So anyway, so the projections for 2035, several sources provide forecasts for data center energy use with AI as a major driver. And Grok wants to synthesize these, focusing on U.S. specific estimates and adjusting for AI's contributor. So IEA, which is International Energy Agency projections, let's see. It suggests that U.S. data centers could consume roughly 765 terawatt hours by 2035. Let's see, they're going into estimates by Goldman Sachs, 440 terawatt hours by 2035. And McKinsey and others, they project U.S. data centers can consume 606 terawatt hours by 2030. Now remember, 150 terawatt hours on the high end was about $30 billion. So we're talking, I mean, I don't know, $500, $600 billion. I don't know. I'm just throwing that out, but it ain't going to be cheap. So that's why ultimately nuclear power is just necessary. So anyway, Expo suggests aggressive growth with AI potentially using 10 to 15% of U.S. electricity by 2030. That is unreal. I mean, AI was just rolled out. At least it seems like it was just rolled out a few years ago. I mean, the public using like AI imagery, making like these little like 10-second long AI video clips, like telling the AI model like make this and add this and do this and put this here and do that there, and it renders like a 10-second video. I mean, it requires a lot of electricity to put all that together for you, just like making like AI music and things like that. Which AI music, it's already out there. It's on YouTube. It's kind of scary how legit it sounds, to be honest with you. So anyway, the critical analysis, the growth of assumptions, high growth scenarios assume rapid AI adoption and limited efficiency gains, which may overstate demand if innovations like smaller models or energy-efficient chips prevail. True. So yeah, they might actually, like companies like NVIDIA, I'm sure they're probably working on more ways to try to conserve as much energy when it comes to using these AI systems. So anyway, the final estimate, and again, this is by the year 2035, it's likely to range between 100 and 250 terawatt hours annually, with the best estimate of about 150 to 200 terawatt hours. So doesn't sound like it's really going to ramp up a whole lot more than it already is. Or is that current? No, yeah, by 2035. So AI accounts for 25 to 30%. This represents 2.5 to 5% of projected U.S. electricity demand, which is 4,500 terawatt hours by 2035. So the low end, the high end, so the midpoint, 150 to 200, 37.5 billion. That would be on the high end, so roughly 30. And let's see, AI in the U.S. is projected to require 100 to 250 terawatt hours per year by 2035, with a likely range of 150 to 200 terawatt hours, representing 2.5 to 5.5% of U.S. electricity, costing approximately $15 to $37.5 billion per year at current rates. And finally, what are the AI data centers in America being used for? So if you're not familiar with AI, I'm sure you've heard of it. I'm sure everybody's heard of the concept of AI at this point. Not just specifically like, like the movie AI or Hollywood's version of AI. I mean, we all know that, but AI today, like what is AI being used for today? And I figured I would ask Grok and see if it'd be able to give us a rundown. So AI data centers in the U.S. are critical infrastructure hubs that support the computational and storage needs of artificial intelligence applications, obviously. These facilities house specialized hardware such as GPU clusters and high-performance computing systems to handle the intensive workloads required for AI. Below is an overview of their primary uses based on the context of your previous questions, yada, yada. So AI model training. They're used to train high-scale AI models, such as large language models, like ChatGPT. Let's see, training is highly energy-intensive. We already know that. An example is Microsoft's data centers used to develop OpenAI's technology. It relies on tens of thousands of NVIDIA processors for training generative AI models. Let's see, another one is AI inference. And an example of that would be data centers support real-time AI applications like virtual assistants. How can I help you? Recommendation systems and generative AI tools for text, music, or video creation. And I did a video the other day of Klarna, the buy now, pay later app. And Klarna, they essentially fired most of their workforce when it comes to their call center and taking customer calls and whatnot. They replaced it with these AI bots, and it really pissed off everybody because everyone just wanted to talk to a human, and apparently the AI bot wasn't nearly as good as they thought it was. It's probably just another one of those computers that you have been talking to when it comes to customer service for the last 30 years. I mean, please explain in a few words how I can help you. And you'll say something like, customer service. I'm sorry, I didn't understand that. Can you please repeat that? Real human being. I'm sorry, I still didn't hear what you're saying. Like, oh, for fuck's sakes, dude. Just give me somebody. But anyway, so, let's see, AI model training. So AI inference. So an example of this would be what I've got up here. This is called GenCraft. You can get it on your phone. You can use it on desktop. I've been using it for a little while, and it's actually pretty fun to play with. And I'll show some of its tricks and whatnot. You can actually generate, I think, five images per day for free. So you don't have to you might have to just sign up for a username, but you don't actually have to pay to use it, as long as you can use 5 prompts or less per day to generate any AI image you want. And most of it, I don't think, is locked behind a paywall. I think most of the features, like selecting a different model and using some advanced settings, I think you can actually use most of that even if you're not paying for it. But this AI image software, it costs about $20 a month. I think it's like $20 a month, and you can generate up to 1,500 AI image prompts per day. So it's quite a lot. And I think that you can actually, I think it's like 4 accounts maybe. So you can run this on 4 different devices. And I believe each device, well, I think combined it's 1,500 prompts per day, but still, I mean, you can play around with it all day long. And it actually puts out some pretty good stuff. I think that AI generator is a lot better than the one that's here on X, in my opinion. But Grok, it'll generate images and things like that if that's what you want to use it for. So anyway, another one is high performance computing for AI workloads. This is just another primary use of the AI data centers that we have in America currently. High performance computing for AI workloads. The purpose, its AI data centers provide HPC capabilities to support complex AI tasks, including machine learning, deep learning, and data analytics for industries like healthcare, finance, and autonomous systems. One example of that would be hyperscale data centers operated by AWS or Microsoft Azure and Google Cloud support AI-driven analytics for enterprise applications, such as predictive modeling or fraud detection. Interesting. Yeah, it makes you wonder, man, like how much of AI is going to be integrated into the federal government. I mean, is that the real reason why they laid off so many people in the IRS? I know that the Biden administration, they went and hired like 80,000 IRS agents. And strangely enough, for some weird reason, a lot of them were required to get a carry permit or they were going to be licensed to carry firearms. It's like, dude, that's kind of dystopic and sketchy to have IRS agents carrying firearms, start going door to door demanding their taxes and all that. But I mean, it makes you wonder how much of things like the IRS or maybe even the Treasury Department is going to be, in large part, AI assisted. I mean, I don't know. It's kind of scary, though, honestly. I mean, maybe it's my ignorance that makes it scary. Maybe if I knew the ins and outs of AI, like across the board, probably not much to worry about other than certain sectors of the job economy evaporating because, I mean, I think that's what most people are worried about is the automation that could result of all of this AI business. So anyway, data storage and management is another thing that AI data centers in America use AI for, such as a data center in Northern Virginia, also a global hub. It stores and processes data for AI applications across industries, supporting cloud services for companies like Amazon and Google. Because yeah, I mean, a lot of people probably don't know this, but Amazon, and I believe it's run under a different name, but Amazon runs like this huge domain and internet company where if you want to purchase your own website and you want to build your own server and handle all the traffic yourself, like you don't want to put that off onto somebody like, I don't know, GoDaddy or whatever, you know, if you want to run your own website 100%, you can do so, but there's also services like what Amazon offers where they'll handle like the traffic and the cloud computing and the storage of like if you're, I don't even know what, like if you're a musician or something and you want to put your catalog on the internet, but you don't want to put it on like any of the different services that they have out there, like Spotify and all that, put it on your own website. Well, you can use a service that Amazon provides to handle the traffic because bandwidth, it gets pretty expensive. And you could either handle all the bandwidth yourself, in which case it's going to cost you a small fortune, or you can hire companies such as the one that Amazon owns to, you know, help offset some of those costs, which obviously Google, they have the same, you know, infrastructure capable of doing that as well. So anyway, support for emerging AI applications. So AI data centers enable cutting-edge applications like autonomous vehicles, smart manufacturing, and agentic AI, which are systems that act autonomously. These require real-time processing and low-latency infrastructure. So an example of that is NVIDIA's planned AI supercomputer plants in the U.S., which aims to support advanced AI applications, potentially including national security-related AI systems. So also AI systems in America are also being used for research and development. And so the Department of Energy sites are being explored for public-private partnerships. Another one is national security and economic competitiveness. So let's see. Posts on X, they highlight the strategic importance of AI data centers, with some suggesting Bitcoin mining infrastructure could support AI energy needs, framing it as a national security issue. So that's true. I mean, I guess. And so the critical assessment with regard to that question as to what exactly is AI being used for in America, most sources, such as IEA and Goldman Sachs and McKinsey, they agree that AI data centers primarily support training and inference and data management, with growing emphasis on inference due to generative AI's popularity, such as what I just showed you, GenCraft. You know, making your own AI images and AI videos and AI music and whatever else you can use AI for, like the chatbots, the chat GPTs and the Groks of the world and all that. So let's see here. So, however, projections vary widely, between 4 and 12% of U.S. electricity being consumed by AI by the year 2030, reflecting uncertainty in AI adoption and efficiency gains, which is why Trump is rolling out the whole nuclear power initiative, or at least to cut away all that red tape and let's get it going, man. Let's get this nuclear power going. Bias in sources, regional concentration, sustainability challenges. Anyway, and the final answer for that is AI data centers in the U.S. are primarily used for training and inference, high-performance computing, data storage and management, supporting emerging applications like autonomous systems and so on and so forth. Anyway, AI research and development, and national security and economic applications. Now, before I wrap up the video, I'll just show a few examples here with this with this GenCraft. And I mean, if you're into creating stuff with AI, you're probably already familiar with with other applications. This is just the one that I like. I came across it. I liked it. It is, I believe, the only thing that I pay monthly for. So I pay the $8 a month for X, you know, to get the little blue check mark and to have other features available on there. But the only other thing that I pay a monthly fee for on the internet is this software, GenCraft. And again, it's on, I think it's on iOS, and it's definitely on Android because I use it primarily on my phone. But I mean, like, I don't have Netflix. I don't have anything. You know, I live below my means. So, but this is just one thing that I had so much fun with. If you ever go and check out my X profile, it's the same name as here on YouTube. It's SPAETHON. I actually put a lot of different AI images on there. Actually, I'll go ahead and just show some of them. Let's see if I can get to my profile. Here it is. I'll head over to my media, and I post these every night. I'll post, like, so here's one, for example. And this I actually created in GenCraft. And I usually post like probably about 15 or 16 per night. Here's another one here. And actually, it'd probably be better if I just go over here and just show it. If I can get to my profile. Yeah, here we go. Just go to my profile and show some of them that I've generated here. Because over there on X, it's got all my memes and all that crap mixed in. But like all of this was all generated with GenCraft. Obviously, this is during Christmas time. I mean, you could really just plug anything into it. Well, here's one of a dragonfly that I made. And I mean, like, look, I didn't make it. The AI made it. All I did was tell it, you know, what to do. So, like, for example, to produce this, the prompt that I used was a colorful dragonfly resting on a beautiful flower. And that's it. And then the model that I used was the double exposure. Or no. Actually, I think that was the person that I piggybacked that off of. So, yeah. And that's what's also cool about this. You can go through other people's AI artwork, and if you see something you like that somebody generated, you can piggyback off of their creation, and you can add to it, or you can take away a little bit from it, and you can add, you know, to your liking and make basically whatever the hell you want. But yeah, some of these actually turned out pretty damn good. Obviously, I'm into the whole futuristic city look. I mean, that's why my wallpaper on my desktop's always like that. And of course, like I was playing around with avatar characters and whatnot. Like this is like inside a futuristic restaurant, for example. Inside a restaurant in the future with palm trees and colorful neon lights. So that's like one of the more common prompts that I throw in there. Yeah, I've always had a thing for palm trees, colorful neon lights, and things like that. So, you can make it look more steampunk like. It's like some like steampunk futuristic looking city there. I don't know why it switched up like that, but yeah, those are just some of the examples. And yeah, here's another one that actually turned out pretty cool. So, and yeah, again, that's the prompt that I used. A breathtaking green sunrise at the beach with a colorful future city skyline with enormous neon skyscrapers, coconut trees, huts, power lines, and neon lights. So yeah, you could really throw in anything, and it'll render whatever the hell you want. So let me come over here to generate. Let me take this off full screen. So I've got some of the prompts here that I've put together. This came from my phone, so I just kind of copied and pasted it. So like this one, for example, like let's get away from the whole futuristic city thing. So I'm going to copy this, and this is the prompt that I would use. So I go over here and then just paste it into the image prompt. So you just basically just describe an image that you want to generate. I mean, you can generate like a wildcat in the jungle, or you can create like a large supermoon that's rising from a tropical like landscape at midnight with lightning bugs in the air, or whatever. You can just throw in whatever the hell you want. You could even throw in stuff like somebody sitting at a cafe with a cup of coffee or whatever. I mean, there's just really, at this point, there's not really any limit really. Now, this GenCraft app, I don't know if I'd go as far as to call it woke, but I kind of will, because you can't use anything political. If you throw out like Trump's name, or even the opposite side, if you throw in like Biden stuff and whatnot, like it will say that like, I'm sorry, we're unable to produce this. The same with like edgy, not safe for work kind of content. Like you can't make if you want to produce like a character or a woman or whatever, you can't make it too sexy, because it won't generate it if you try to get a little X-rated with this thing. So it does have its limitations when it comes to what it kind of will allow you to produce. So anyway, now this looks a little different than on my phone, but you can actually add any photo. You can take a selfie of yourself, and then you can add it to this, and then you can throw AI elements into like a picture of yourself or of your pets, or if you like have like a family photo or something, if you want to put in here, you can AI the hell out of it. You can also choose a style. Now, the style I usually go with is steampunk, especially when it comes to my cityscapes that I do. But you could choose any of these styles, and it'll make it, essentially whatever this style represents. With regard to the log cabin, probably would be better to use probably nature, or maybe realistic, or oil painting, or you could just go crazy and make it look really weird and do something like synthwave. Give it a synthwave look and see how that looks. And you can also choose a model. So with these models, there's a bunch to choose from, and each model will make the image look different. I mean, there's really no solid way, without playing around with it a lot, to really know exactly what it's going to look like based on any of these models. But if you choose one of them and you render the image and then you change it to another one, the image will look pretty different. So let's see, like for example, let's do this one, Realism 3.2, and let's try generating it and see what it'll do. So over here on the right, generating the creation. I was wondering if it'd be faster on the PC than it is on my phone. Honestly, this is the first time I'm using it on my PC. So there you have it. Log cabin in the desert, distant lightning, the bright full moon. So it didn't really play into a whole synthwave look. Usually the whole synthwave thing, it would make it look more like purple and whatnot, but sometimes it doesn't really go for the style that you think it might end up producing, just because there's really nothing in this prompt to hint at it being anything like futuristic or whatever. But I mean, I could get more just to the point and use nature, for example, and try generating it, and we'll see how much different or how different it might look. And you can also make it very generic. You could just say a cabin in the woods, and it could give you a cabin in the woods. Like it could be in a rainforest, or it could be like up in the Pacific Northwest, or it could be in the Appalachians, or, you know, what have you. So that's another one. But yeah, if you throw in specific things, like if I get rid of the Northern Lights, I mean, obviously it's not going to produce the Northern Lights by doing that. You can go and you can generate it. And of course, you can save all your images. You can download them. I don't even think you even have to pay for GenCraft to be able to download these. Now you can download it as a 4K file, but you can't do that if you're using the free version. Free version, you can only do the standard HD version. Now, also, which I forgot about, the aspect ratio, its default is 1:1, 1024 by 1024 pixels. So you can set it to, you can do portrait, you can do landscape, and you can use the different sizes in between to produce it. So yeah, that's just one example of, you know, the generic cabin in the woods. Yeah, this one's probably obviously that's going to produce like a futuristic city of sorts, but we'll throw that in here, and I'll just leave it on nature, the style nature. Again, I could change it to any style I want. The same with the model. Like I'll change it to, you know, let's just do this one just for a random example, and click generate. And it's kind of addicting, man. Like once you start getting the hang of this, it's fun to play with. And you can use different themes. Like if your best friend is turning like, I don't know, like 36 years old, you can actually create an AI image that says like happy 36th birthday, and add like balloons and a birthday cake. And like, does your friend, are they obsessed with the desert, or are they obsessed with the beach or something? You can throw that in there and make it like a birthday cake on the beach with 36 candles, and, you know, it's during sunset. Or maybe if they're obsessed with like thunderstorms, you can put a thunderstorm in the background and it'll render all that. And it'll actually look pretty cool. But yeah, that's a decent looking one. I mean, that one's kind of cool looking, I guess. Not really seeing much of a futuristic city though. But oh yeah, there you go. Yeah, that one actually didn't turn out too bad. Tropical beach, bioluminescent water. So yeah, the water's kind of glowing. It's not really that blue glow that most people expect. Late at night, dazzling, colorful, tall skyline, and neon futuristic city. So, yeah, that's what most of these are. Most of these are futuristic in nature, at least on my end. Now you could do the triple parentheses, and it'll put like extra focus on whatever you put in parentheses. So basically, if you put that in the triple parentheses, it will add, like for this one, for example, it will add palm trees. It will put power lines in it. It will put street lights in it. If you remove those parentheses, maybe you'll see those in there. Maybe you won't. But that's just based on my experience. Now, there's other ways that you can word these. And honestly, I probably should watch a few tutorials for myself. But there's a lot of different clever, crafty ways that you can actually word these text descriptions. But here, I'll throw in this one. Let's go with that steampunk, man. I like the steampunk look. And we could change the model. Let's do hyper-realism. Let's see what that might come up with. And I prefer the landscape version, where just the image it just fits the screen better. Like, you know, you can use this stuff to create the wallpaper of your desktop if you want. Such as this one that I have, like that was created in GenCraft. And obviously it's got the aspect ratio that would fit, which is landscape, that would fit the screen. Now, of course, it's not going to be like, it's going to be, what was it? 1280 by 960. So of course, if you're using the free version and you make that your desktop, it might look a little blurry because it's not going to be a perfect fit pixel wise. But it can be if you end up paying for this thing. If you pay the $20 a month, you can download the 4K version of it, and it will look a lot better on your desktop. But anyway, that's how that looked. Abandoned industrial complex with neon lights. I'm not really seeing many neon lights, maybe in these weird turbine looking things. Yeah, and they threw a couple palm trees in there. It's like some old abandoned decaying looking industrial complex. It flooded it out. There's standing water in it. Yeah, that's just another example of that. So let me try to see if I can do something a little different here. A lot of future city stuff. Cats in suits, suit and tie. Orange tie. Oh, red. Mirrored. Eating at a table. Driving a car. I guess we can try that one. We'll see how that might look. I mean, this is like going into like what my avatar looks like. The style. Maybe I'll just leave it. I'll just leave it alone. We'll see what it looks like if I do that. Orange tabby cat wearing a suit and mirrored sunglasses driving a car. I've tried this. It usually doesn't turn out very well. It usually gets weird. So this should be a good example as to, how it can get kind of squirrely. Steampunk. Yeah, see, it looks like what resembles the steering wheel is back there. Not mirrored. It's got weird-ass looking eyes. It looks like he's facing backwards. I don't know what the hell all this metal stuff is back there. And, but yeah, you can generate it over and over again. You can even, like, just change it up. You can, I'll change it to, like, image 3.0. And the image will look a bit different. It won't look, like, completely different, but it should change the style of the image a bit. So, you just got to give it a second. That one didn't turn out too bad. Doesn't look like cat paws. It's kind of like humanoid, like hand/paws with 3 fingers. Sometimes if you're doing one of a person, and I'll try one of a person, sometimes it'll do weird stuff to its hand. It'll give it like 5 or 6 fingers. Like the AI does some strange stuff sometimes. Like this one, he's got 3 fingers here, and then he's got 4 fingers here. I mean, sometimes it does weird stuff, like the sunglasses didn't fit. They're not round. That one actually didn't turn out half bad. It actually put him behind the wheel wearing a suit and everything. That one actually didn't turn out too bad. Usually they don't turn out that good. So let me see if I can find something different here. Futuristic new city. Future cities. Here, let me just try something from scratch and see if I can do that. Let's see, what should we go with? Beautiful woman sitting on a park bench during sunset. Let's keep it simple. Now I'm gonna get rid of the steampunk look. What should I go with? You could try no style. Let's try no style first and see what that might produce. Because that'll make it look more realistic, I think. It'll be more of like an authentic, like realistic looking photo. Because some of these AI pictures that they make of people, they look crazy realistic. Yeah, look at that. Crazy, right? I mean, yeah. It's kind of wild, man, how realistic it can make it look. Yeah, there's one. Yep, lady doesn't exist. This doesn't exist. That's AI. It's not real. Kind of freaky. It's kind of wild how it does that. I'll just do one more and then I'll, kind of wrap this up. But you can actually explore other people's AI artwork on here. There's another one. Made her age. See, look, she's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. She's got like 6 toes. Yeah, sometimes it does weird stuff like that. It's not perfect yet, but it's getting all right. It's getting pretty legit if you ask me. So yeah, anyway, I can go over here to creations. You can actually just look at individual users as well, but these are AI images that other people have produced, and yeah, they actually look pretty good in my opinion. A lot of like fantasy art, like old school planes, things like that. A lot of women, a lot of ladies, and you can also, I think you can actually specifically search. Is the search box up here? There's a search box around here somewhere, but you can also search by newest. You can also follow people. A weird elephant on a Lambo. It's kind of strange. Yeah, you can also do like stuff that's a little bit more abstract. Obviously, that's all from the same person. They're plugging away right now. So you can also search by users, the leaderboard. So let's see, the people with the most amount, let's see, creations and followers and whatnot. So you can sort by creations, which, yeah, that's where I was just at. See, you can explore. Oh, yeah, you can explore different models. So let me see here. Yeah, so these are different images that people generated from this model specifically, which that's kind of cool. I didn't actually know that. I didn't know you can actually search inside each model of what people have created. And yeah, this is all created on this GenCraft app. And you can download the photo, use it for whatever the hell you want to use it for. You could probably even generate something within this application, and you can take that image and plug it into another AI generator and maybe play around with it with even more. Because I'm sure different AI systems, they have different types of models, and they've got different parameters and, you know, just different things that you can create. But yeah, these are all different models, man. They've got tons of these models. And you can choose any one of these and plug it into the image that you want to create. So, like, for example, let me grab stained glass, use model, and it should take it over to my generator. So, let's see. Will it actually generate? Oh, no. I don't even know what to even put in here. I'm just throwing in something just completely random. I just want to see what it might come up with. So the selected model is stained glass. I didn't put in a specific style, which you can do. But I mean, obviously, like, if you get into this, you can just go on and on and on, just creating all kinds of stuff. So it looks more like a painting than anything. I mean, stained glass, that's not really probably the best, you know, image to create if you want it to look like stained glass. I guess that'd be more appropriate. I mean, if you venture too far outside of the model based on the text that you're typing in to create the image, it's not really going to look like what you'd expect it to. And maybe this one won't either. Actually, yeah, that actually did pretty good. Actually didn't look too bad using the stained glass model. But yeah, these are, I'm assuming, from that same model. Probably the stained glass look. See, like that one actually turned out pretty good. But yeah, anyway, that's it. That's GenCraft. That's just one of many AI examples that you can look up. I'm sure if you went to like the Apple Store or the Google Play Store, I'm sure that there's probably tons of different AI apps that you can use. That's just image. You can create AI videos. You can create AI music. And all right, so I just paused, obviously, just for a second. I came across this channel some time ago. These are all AI songs. So this is all AI music that they put together. Most of it it's like a Motown. You know, it's got that kind of music or melody to it. And some of this shit is hilarious, man. Here, I'm gonna play this one. This one I actually really enjoyed. This one's called "I'm Still Whooping That Ass" from 1969. Now, again, this is AI generated. So just keep that in mind when you listen to this. It's pretty wild.
All throughout the town. Gonna let them know I don't fuck around.
I don't fuck around.
I whoop that ass till it's all shitty. Spank that ass like you owe me $3.50.
Like you owe me $3.50.
Oh, I ain't playing. I'm here to whoop ass.
I'm here to whoop ass.
Whoop that ass. Time for lunch break. I'm the one
These are all AI
who brings
images
you
too.
pain in the night. I whoop that ass till the morning
You can tell by the words
light.
how they're all jumbled up.
I beat that ass every single day. I whoop that ass up and down the block. Spank that ass till they call the cops.
spank that ass till they call the cops. Oh yeah, a pimp named Superhand. That was such a great one. And look, there's not a shitload of views with this either. I mean, I honestly couldn't tell you how I came across this, but I came across it somewhere. But this one was funny. It's got a good melody too. It's pretty wild that this is all made by AI. And when did this come out? This is about a month ago.
With his cake shining bright, his backhand is so strong, even with no rings on. The pimp of the hour has superhero powers. The man I've hated him for so long. Superhand. You know he don't.
Yeah, I thought they had another one. That wasn't really the one that I was. Maybe it was under the popular. They did another version of Superhand that sounded a lot better than that. But I mean, like this is from 1524. It's supposed to be from the year 1524.
All thou dost is talk, 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 but thou never listen. Can you hear me? Get thine ass back in the kitchen and make me some chicken. Don't test me, bitch. Don't test me, bitch. My pimp hand is strong and my patience is thin. So thin. Quit all thy bitching. Get back in the kitchen. I'm hungry. Don't test me, bitch. Don't test me. Thou shalt not test me, bitch.
Thou shalt not test me,
fist.
bitch.
I will smack thy lip. I will bust thy shit.
Bust thy shit.
Talk back one more time, just one more time, and this will be the scene of a crime. Try me, bitch, I dare thee. Don't dare thee, bitch. My pimp hand is strong and my patience is thin. So thin, quit all that bitching. Get back in the kitchen.
All right. I don't want to play the entire thing because, you know, with respect to the person that's creating this, I don't know if they're actually copywriting this or not. Because if it's 100% AI generated, I don't believe that you can copyright it. But if you generate like the melody, if you generate certain elements of a song in AI, and then you add your own flair to it, insert whatever. Like if you build on what it created through AI by using some of your own work to incorporate into a song, you can copyright that. But I think if it's 100% AI generated, I don't believe that you can actually legally copyright it. But yeah, this is just one channel. I mean, I'm sure that there's probably over 1,000 different AI music channels out there. I'm sure that there's probably let me see if there's any examples here for AI video. AI generated video. I mean, I think probably most people at this point have probably seen examples of AI. What the hell is that thing? New crazy. Oh yeah, Google's new realistic Veo 3. I've heard of that. I saw a couple examples of it. It does look kind of freaky. This one, it's an AI generated video. I guess I'll give it a watch. Never seen it. Have no idea. Damn, look at that. Yeah, that's legit. Now imagine the amount of electricity that it required to make this. Having to generate all of this from scratch. So I mean, like, if you can imagine, you could probably see why AI is so electricity demanding. Very heavy on energy. That's freaking wild, man. Not bad. And this was what, 6 months ago? Yeah, this came out 6 months ago. I don't think they're bullshitting when they say in about 5 years or so, we're probably going to start seeing full-length feature films made completely in AI. Wouldn't surprise me at all. Hollywood actors, y'all days are numbered. And I can't really exactly say I'm going to shed any tears for them. But yeah, man, that's wild. And I mean, the amount of computing power that it must have taken to produce this is probably just unreal. Because I mean, like, look, could be like not getting the full picture. But in order to produce, like, if this were just a still image, and if you told it to generate, Babylon from like 3000 BC or whatever the hell in the desert, like, you have to be very descriptive with exactly what it is that you want it to create. You can use something generic by just leaving it as Babylon, and then AI will just generate it based on what it thinks that you mean. But to create all of this, I mean, it essentially has a library with probably billions and billions and billions of images and fractions of images. And the way AI compiles an image, it's like putting pieces of a puzzle together. Like it took like images that featured palm trees, and it actually like took some examples of images that had palm trees, and it pasted it into this image, as well as millions of other pieces from images that it has in its library database, and it compiles all of those elements together to produce this image. And then, of course, it has to create 30 of this image over and over again, 30 times, to create just 1 second of video. So, I don't know. Like, I mean, I can imagine it in my head as to, like, how intensive it must be to create an AI video. I mean, you don't really get the effects, like when I was creating those AI images, I don't really get that effect on my end because I'm not using my computer's power to generate those AI images. I was using the one that was provided by GenCraft on their end. They have the servers and the systems that are compiling and generating all of this AI imagery and storing the completed images for your profile and everything. I mean, that's all done on their end. I mean, here on the front end, on the user end, you don't really see all of that. And it's probably not too difficult, or it's probably not unreasonable to understand, or to not understand exactly what goes into producing all of this AI shit, especially when it comes to the amount of energy that it requires. So anyway, yeah, I guess I'll wrap up the video there. It went a little long, but I mean, that's great news, I think, for nuclear power to, I don't know if I'd say getting a restart, but for it to get a major boost in our country is sorely needed. I mean, we've been needing more and more nuclear power all along, and in the last couple of decades, if anything, they've been rolling it backwards. I'm sure they've probably shut down more nuclear power plants than they've built. I mean, like the example they said, like, what, over the last 30 years, I think they only said like 2 nuclear power plants went online over the last couple of decades. And it wouldn't surprise me to find out that there was more than 2 that had been shut down over, the last couple of decades. But anyway, that's all I got. See you later.